The capture. Darien Hale's boots scraped across the cold, polished floor as he was marched through the crystalline corridors of the Zenith Citadel. The air was charged with a mix of fear and adrenaline, his heart pounding in rhythm with each step. Energy cuffs gripped his wrists tightly, sending jolts of discomfort radiating through his arms. 2 towering alien guards flanked him, their metallic helmets reflecting the vibrant hues of the Citadel's shimmering walls. Their grip was unyielding, and as they dragged him forward, he fought back every instinct to resist. Each attempt at defiance earned him nothing but rough shoves, each more brutal than the last, leaving him struggling to maintain his composure. The towering citadel of the Zenith Empire had long been a source of fear and fascination among the stars, a mythical fortress believed to be more a tale of horror than a reality. Yet here he was, its prisoner, captured after a daring raid on one of the Empire's outer colonies. Darien had anticipated a death sentence or torture in the dreaded chambers of the Citadel, but instead, they were leading him to an audience with the Empress herself. As he approached the grand doors at the end of the corridor, they loomed before him like the jaws of a predator. Intricately carved from a shimmering metal, the doors refracted ambient light into a kaleidoscope of colors that danced across the floor. The sound of hissing mechanisms filled the air as the doors opened, revealing a sight that took Darien's breath away. Inside lay the throne room, but it was no ordinary hall of rule. The room stretched out like an abyss, its walls composed of pure crystalline glass. Through them, the fiery nebula outside illuminated the chamber, casting an ethereal glow that made everything seem otherworldly. The stars burned brightly just beyond the transparent barriers, a reminder of how impossibly far he was from home and safety. At the center of it all was Empress Sela, seated upon a throne that radiated an aura of authority. Her presence felt almost gravitational, pulling Darien's focus entirely to her. The Empress reclined as if she were one with the throne itself, draped in flowing iridescent robes that shimmered with every subtle movement. Her skin, a radiant hue of cerulean blue, caught the ambient starlight, making her seem almost divine. Long crimson hair cascaded over her shoulders, framing a face of sharp cheekbones and a narrow nose. But it was her deep green eyes that captivated him, burning with a cold fire, filled with a mix of intrigue and something darker. As the guards pushed him roughly to his knees at the base of the steps leading up to her throne, Darien gasped for breath, the sudden motion causing his vision to blur momentarily. But when it cleared, all he could see was her. "Leave us," Sela commanded, her voice smooth yet commanding. The guards obeyed without hesitation, retreating and leaving Darien alone in her presence. The doors slid shut with a soft hum, sealing him in a world that felt both alien and terrifyingly intimate. Darien rose to his feet, his defiance igniting even in the face of such overwhelming power. "You must be Empress Sela," he said, trying to keep his voice steady despite the pain in his shoulders. "Here to pass judgment on me, I presume." Her gaze was piercing, dissecting him with a single look. "You are one of the few humans brave enough, or foolish enough, to strike at my empire," she replied, her voice laced with a mix of curiosity and disdain. "Kill me then," he shot back, his voice raw and unyielding. "Get it over with." But instead of unleashing her wrath, Sela descended the steps with a fluid grace that felt predatory. "I didn't bring you here to kill you," she replied, her tone shifting to something softer, almost hypnotic. "You have something I want, something I cannot find anywhere else in this galaxy." Darien's heart raced as he met her gaze, feeling the tension crackle between them. "What could I possibly have that you desire?" he challenged, even as a flicker of doubt crept into his mind. A faint smile curved her lips, revealing a glimmer of something deeper. "You feel it too, don't you?" she whispered, stepping closer, her fingers reaching out to brush against the side of his face. Her touch was cold yet electric, sending a shiver down his spine. "The energy, the connection, your passion is something I can harness." He jerked his head back, breaking the contact, his jaw tightening. I have no intention of helping you, he growled, but inside, a tempest brewed. The very idea that his emotions could be a weapon sent chills through him. Her smile faded, replaced by an expression of deep focus. Humans think so small, she replied, her voice dropping to a near whisper. You act on instinct, driven by primal desires. Yet there is power in that chaos. Power that can be turned to my advantage. Darian's mind raced. He had fought in countless battles, but nothing had prepared him for this. Standing before the Empress of the Zenith Empire, who was not just a ruler, but a force of nature, asking for something so intrinsic to humanity. I will make you submit to me, Scylla continued, her voice firm. Through your submission, I will become unstoppable. He felt the chains of energy around his wrists tighten, an overwhelming pressure pressing down on him. You think you can break me? He spat defiantly, even as he struggled against the restraints. But her intensity bore down on him, and for a moment he wavered. I need what only you can give me, Scylla said, stepping closer still, her green eyes glowing brighter. Human emotion, human desire. It is chaotic, volatile, but within it lies the key to a force long forgotten by my people. Darian's pulse quickened, a mixture of fear and something else igniting within him. She was powerful, yes, but there was a vulnerability in her words that he hadn't expected. I won't be your pawn, he said, trying to sound stronger than he felt. With a flick of her wrist, the energy chains surged, lifting him off the ground until he was suspended in midair, utterly immobilized. You are already my pawn, Darian, she stated, her voice steady as she closed the distance between them. Your defiance will only make the game more interesting. As he hovered, helpless and bound, he realized that this encounter was only the beginning of a much larger struggle, a battle not just for his life, but for the very essence of what made him human. Would he succumb to her power, or could he turn the tides in this game where passion might just be the ultimate weapon? The battle had only just begun, but one thing was certain: Darian Hale was not going to walk away from this unchanged. The proposal. Darian floated helplessly, his body suspended by shimmering chains that crackled with energy. The Empress Scylla stood before him, her presence both alluring and terrifying, as she assessed him with eyes that burned with intensity. The air between them was thick with unspoken words, a silent challenge echoing through the crystalline chamber. Despite the overwhelming power she wielded, a flicker of curiosity ignited in him, a spark that refused to be extinguished even in the face of danger. What do you truly want from me, Scylla? Darian asked, his voice steady despite the precariousness of his situation. He had seen many forms of power during his journeys, but nothing compared to the raw energy radiating from the Empress. Yet beneath her icy exterior, he sensed an underlying desperation, an eagerness that intrigued him. Scylla's lips curved into a faint smile, one that danced between amusement and something darker. What I desire, Darian, is more than mere subjugation. It is an alliance, a union of sorts. Your emotions, your passions, could unlock a force that I have yet to harness fully. Darian narrowed his eyes, skepticism rising within him. And you think I would willingly join you? Help you conquer more worlds? Her gaze sharpened, an edge of annoyance flickering across her features. This is not about conquest alone, human. My empire is in turmoil. The very essence of our civilization is at stake. By merging our strengths, we can achieve something unimaginable. Darian felt the tension in the air shift, her words weaving a web of temptation. He had been raised to believe that alliances were forged in trust and mutual benefit. Yet here he was, confronted by a ruler who saw him as a tool rather than an equal. The chains that held him were not just physical. They were a symbol of the power dynamics at play. Why me? He pressed, wanting to uncover the truth behind her request. You could have anyone in your empire. Why risk it all on a human? Scylla took a step closer, her crimson hair cascading around her shoulders like a curtain of fire. Because you are different, she said, her voice dropping to a near whisper. You have something that others lack, an untamed spirit. Your passion could amplify the celestial core's power, allowing me to break the chains of stagnation that bind my people. Darian's mind raced as he processed her words. The celestial core was the heart of her empire, a source of unimaginable power. He remembered her mentioning it before and how it pulsed with energy, responding to the emotions of those attuned to it. But was it truly wise to trust her? He had seen too much betrayal in his life to let his guard down easily. "What's in it for me?" he asked, unwilling to appear naive. "If I agree to this alliance, what guarantee do I have that I won't become just another pawn in your game?" Scylla's expression softened slightly, her eyes reflecting a flicker of genuine interest. "You want guarantees, human? Then let me propose a pact." She took a step back, allowing the chains to slacken just enough for him to stand. "A partnership based on mutual benefit, your freedom in exchange for your passion." Darian's heart raced at the prospect. The notion of being free from his restraints, however temporary, was enticing. But could he trust her? Could he afford to risk his freedom, even for a chance to turn the tides in this game? "And if I refuse?" he asked, maintaining his defiance despite the allure of her offer. "Then we continue as we are," she replied, her voice steady. "You remain my captive, and I will find another way to harness what I need. But know this, my empire is vast, and my resources are endless. Your life, though valuable, is but a small flicker in the grand design of the universe." Darian felt a shiver run down his spine. The implications of her words were clear. If he rejected her offer, she could easily replace him, finding another human or some other means to achieve her goal. "Very well," he said finally, a mix of determination and apprehension in his voice. "I will entertain this partnership, but I will not submit to you entirely. I will maintain my autonomy." Scylla regarded him with a calculating gaze, her expression inscrutable. "A wise choice, Darian Hale. Autonomy is an illusion we both cherish. But know that true power comes from connection, from surrendering a part of yourself to a greater cause." The chains released him fully, and he found his footing on the cool crystalline floor. As he stood before her, he could feel the weight of her expectations pressing down on him. They were no longer adversaries but allies in a precarious dance, each trying to navigate the complexities of their newfound relationship. "What do we do now?" Darian asked, his curiosity piqued. Scylla smiled, a genuine expression that illuminated her features, albeit briefly. "Now we begin your training. You must learn to channel your emotions, to connect with the celestial core. Together, we will unlock its potential." "Training," he echoed, feeling a mix of anticipation and dread. "And how exactly do you plan to do that?" "By immersing you in the energy of the core," she explained. "It responds to your emotions, amplifying them. You will learn to tap into it, to unleash your passions, and in doing so, we can reshape the very fabric of my empire." Darian took a deep breath, weighing the gravity of her words. He felt a tingle of excitement coursing through him at the prospect of exploring this uncharted territory. What if he could channel his emotions into something greater? What if he could wield the very forces that had once enslaved him? "Lead the way, Empress," he said, a newfound resolve surging within him. "Let's see what this core can do." With a nod, Scylla extended her hand toward him, a gesture that felt almost intimate. "Come, it is time for you to discover the depths of your potential and the true meaning of power." As he stepped forward, joining her on this path, Darian realized that he was entering a realm where the boundaries between captor and captive, ruler and pawn, began to blur. The dance of power had just begun, and with it came the promise of transformation, both for himself and for the empire that had captured him. Together, they moved deeper into the heart of the citadel, and as the air hummed with energy, Darian felt a flicker of hope igniting within him. Perhaps, just perhaps, he could turn this precarious situation to his advantage. The celestial core. As Darian and Scylla ventured deeper into the citadel, the atmosphere shifted. The air crackled with energy, thick with anticipation. The walls, made of transparent crystal, glowed in hues of blue and green, refracting the light of distant stars into mesmerizing patterns that danced around them. Darian's pulse quickened, not just from the power that pulsed within the citadel, but from the weight of what he was about to undertake. They approached an immense archway, adorned with intricate carvings that seemed to tell stories of ancient battles and lost civilizations. Scylla paused at the entrance, turning to face him. "What lies beyond this door is the heart of my empire. The celestial core is a source of immense power, capable of reshaping not only our worlds, but also the very essence of who we are." Darian nodded, his mind racing with thoughts of what the core could mean for him and for humanity. "And you believe I can tap into that power?" he asked, his voice steady, despite the swirling emotions within him. "More than believe, I know it," she replied, her confidence radiating like the light from the stars beyond. "You have a unique connection to emotions, a depth that my people have lost. Your passion is the key to unlocking the core's true potential." With a wave of her hand, the door slid open with a low, resonant hum, revealing a vast chamber that made the throne room seem small by comparison. The space was monumental, its domed ceiling arching high above, crafted entirely of the same crystalline material that encased the citadel. Above, the stars twinkled brightly, their light pouring into the room, illuminating the center where the celestial core floated. The core was unlike anything Darian had ever seen. A pulsating sphere of light hovered just above the ground, radiating energy that shimmered and shifted in a kaleidoscope of colors. It appeared both beautiful and dangerous, a manifestation of raw cosmic power. He felt an immediate pull, an instinctive yearning to reach out and touch it, as if it were calling to him. Scylla stepped forward, her expression reverent. "This is the celestial core. It is alive, a symbiotic entity that draws energy from the universe and channels it through those attuned to its frequency." She extended her hand toward the core, and a beam of energy surged from it, wrapping around her fingers like liquid light. "It responds to your emotions, amplifying them to unimaginable levels." Darian watched in awe as she closed her eyes, absorbing the energy. For a moment, the room was silent except for the gentle hum of the core, and he could feel the atmosphere shift as her power swelled. It was intoxicating, a reminder of how close he was to something extraordinary and dangerous. "Now, it's your turn," Scylla said, breaking his reverie as she turned her gaze back to him. "But first, you must let go of your fear. Embrace your emotions, anger, joy, passion. Whatever you feel, let it flow. The core will guide you." Darian took a deep breath, grounding himself. He had faced fear before, whether in battle or in life, but this was different. He had always been in control, always had a plan. Now he had to surrender to the unknown. As he stepped closer to the core, he felt the energy pulsating through the air, resonating with his heartbeat. It was as if the universe was aware of him, waiting for him to connect. He raised his hand, hesitating for just a moment, then plunged into the radiant light. The moment his fingers brushed the surface, a surge of energy coursed through him. It was unlike anything he had experienced, raw, chaotic, and overwhelming. Emotions flooded his senses, the thrill of battle, the warmth of love, the sting of betrayal, and the fire of ambition. He felt them all, intertwined, surging through him like a tidal wave. Images flashed before his eyes, memories of his past, moments of joy and pain intertwined. He saw his childhood, filled with laughter and adventure, but also the struggles of growing up in a world that often felt hostile and unforgiving. He could feel the weight of loss, the sting of disappointment, and the exhilarating rush of victory. Each emotion intensified, amplified by the core, blending into a vibrant tapestry that consumed him. Darian gasped, struggling to maintain his composure. He had never allowed himself to feel so deeply, to let emotions dictate his actions. But here, in this moment, it was liberating and terrifying all at once. "Focus, Darian." Scylla's voice broke through the haze, grounding him. "Harness that energy, let it guide you. Picture your desires and fears, and allow the core to amplify them. He took her words to heart, channeling the chaos within him. He envisioned the face of his home planet, the vibrant green fields, and the laughter of his friends. He thought of the injustices he had faced, the battles fought for freedom, the desire to protect those he loved. Each thought fueled the energy coursing through him, and the core responded in kind, glowing brighter with each pulse. Suddenly, he felt a connection, an invisible thread weaving between him and the core. It was as if they were communicating, understanding one another on a primal level. The energy shifted, swirling around him, forming shapes and colors that danced like flames in the night. "Good," Sila encouraged, her eyes glinting with approval. "You're beginning to understand. Emotions are not weaknesses, they are powerful tools. Now, command the energy, show it your will." Darian concentrated harder, feeling the energy respond to his thoughts. "I am not a pawn," he shouted, the words echoing in the vast chamber. "I am a force of my own." The core pulsed, and suddenly, the energy enveloped him, lifting him off the ground. He felt weightless, suspended in a kaleidoscope of colors. The power surged through him, and for the first time, he felt truly alive. As the energy enveloped him, visions flooded his mind, fights won, lives saved, and the promise of a future he could forge. He was no longer just Darian Hale, a human captured by an alien Empress. He was a conduit of potential, a bridge between two worlds. "Let it flow," Sila urged, her voice a beacon amid the chaos. "Let the energy consume you. Use it to break the barriers that confine you." With her words ringing in his ears, he surrendered to the power. He felt it course through his veins, igniting every fiber of his being. Emotions twisted and turned, forming a cyclone of raw energy. He could feel it reaching out, connecting with the celestial core in a way he never thought possible. Darian closed his eyes, allowing himself to be swept away. In that moment, he was no longer a captive. He was a force of nature. The energy swirled around him, illuminating the chamber with blinding light. He was a comet streaking across the cosmos, leaving behind a trail of brilliance. Then, just as quickly as it had begun, the energy surged back into the core, leaving him breathless and grounded once more. He stood before Sila, who regarded him with a mixture of awe and triumph. "You did it, Darian. You tapped into the core's power, and in doing so, you proved your worth." Darian opened his eyes, still reeling from the intensity of the experience. "But I don't understand," he said, his voice shaky. "What happens now?" Sila stepped closer, her presence a comforting weight amidst the tumult. "Now we harness that power together. The celestial core can amplify our strengths, and with your help, we can reshape the Empire. Together, we can unlock a new era of strength and unity." A surge of determination filled Darian. He had entered the Citadel as a prisoner, but now he stood on the precipice of something monumental. This alliance could change everything. Perhaps through his connection with Sila and the celestial core, he could not only reclaim his freedom, but also pave the way for a brighter future for both humans and aliens. "Let's begin," he said, a newfound resolve solidifying within him. "Let's show them what true power looks like." As they began to strategize, a flicker of hope ignited within Darian, a spark that hinted at the possibility of not just survival, but of greatness. Together, they would face the challenges ahead, united by a bond forged in the crucible of passion and power. Unraveling alliances. As the echoes of their shared power faded into the crystalline walls of the Citadel, Darian and Sila began to plot their course forward. The room, now charged with a potent energy, seemed to vibrate with anticipation, as if the very walls of the Citadel were eager to witness the unfolding of this unlikely alliance. "Before we can reshape the Empire, we must first understand its inner workings," Sila said, her voice steady and resolute. "The Zenith Empire is vast, with layers of bureaucracy and hidden agendas. Many within my court are loyal to me, but there are those who would see me fall." Darian nodded, the weight of her words sinking in. He had been a soldier long enough to know that power struggles often ran deep, and alliances could shift like sand in the wind. How do we begin? He asked, his mind racing with possibilities. Sela gestured toward a massive star map that unfurled across one wall, depicting the various planets and territories under her rule. Each star represented a world, and lines traced connections between them, some glowing brightly while others flickered dimly. "This is the Empire," she explained. "Each star holds a story, a faction, a leader, a potential ally or enemy. We need to determine where our strengths lie." Darian stepped closer, his eyes scanning the map. He noted the clusters of stars that glimmered with potential, each one signifying a resource, a people, or an army. "If we can build alliances with these factions, we can solidify our power and challenge those who threaten your reign," he suggested. "But we must be careful. Trust is a fragile thing." Scylla's expression darkened momentarily, a shadow passing across her features. "Trust is indeed fragile, especially in my court. There are whispers of dissent among the ranks, and not all are pleased with my rule. My most trusted advisor, Commander Rolfo, has been growing increasingly ambitious, and there are rumors he seeks to undermine my authority." "Commander Rolfo," Darian echoed, intrigued. "What do you know about him?" "He is a formidable leader, well respected among the military ranks. His loyalty is suspect, though. He believes that the Empire should conquer more worlds, expanding our reach through sheer force. I aim for unity through understanding, but he sees only dominance," Sela explained, her voice filled with concern. "If he gathers enough support, he could pose a serious threat." Darian furrowed his brow, contemplating the implications. "We need to gain the support of those who trust you. If you can strengthen your inner circle, it will be harder for Rolfo to rally opposition." Sela nodded, her eyes shining with a renewed sense of determination. "I have a plan. There is a council meeting scheduled for tomorrow, a gathering of the highest-ranking officials within the Empire. If we can demonstrate the power of the core and the potential of our alliance, it may be enough to sway those who waver in their loyalty." A mixture of excitement and apprehension coursed through Darian. But how do we present this power? We can't simply walk into the council and declare our intentions. They'll need proof, a demonstration of what we can achieve together. "Exactly," Sela replied, a gleam in her eye. "We will showcase the power of the celestial core, and I will draw on your emotions to amplify it. This will not only demonstrate our strength, but also emphasize the value of our partnership." Darian swallowed hard, knowing that channeling such intense energy in front of a council could either solidify their power or expose their vulnerability. "What if something goes wrong?" he asked, his voice laced with concern. Sela stepped closer, her hand resting gently on his arm. "You have the strength to guide this power. Trust in yourself and in our bond. We will be stronger together than we could ever be apart." The connection between them sparked, a reminder of the intimate bond they were forging in this perilous dance of power. "All right," he agreed, his resolve solidifying. "Let's prepare for this council meeting. We'll need a strategy." Over the next several hours, they meticulously planned their approach. Sela shared details about the council members, their interests, and their known loyalties. Together, they crafted a narrative that emphasized unity and shared strength, highlighting the power of emotion as a catalyst for change. Darian learned about the complexities of the Zenith Empire, how it functioned on layers of political maneuvering, with allegiances forged and broken in the blink of an eye. He absorbed every detail, understanding that knowledge was as vital as the power of the core. Finally, the time for the council meeting arrived. Sela donned her iridescent robes, which shimmered like a galaxy of stars, enhancing her regal presence. Darian felt a mix of pride and anxiety as he prepared to step into the heart of her world. "Are you ready?" Sela asked, her voice soft yet firm, cutting through his apprehension. Darian took a deep breath, steeling himself. "Ready as I'll ever be." As they made their way through the ornate corridors of the Citadel, Darian couldn't shake the feeling that the stakes had never been higher. The council chamber loomed ahead, and as the doors opened, a wave of tension washed over him. Inside, the room was filled with the elite of the Zenith Empire, each member a figure of power and influence. They turned their gazes towards Sela and Darian, curiosity and suspicion dancing in their eyes. Sela moved to the center of the chamber, her presence commanding attention. "Esteemed members of the council," she began, her voice echoing off the high ceilings. "I have called you here today to discuss the future of our empire. As you know, we face challenges from within and without. To secure our dominance among the stars, we must harness the true power of the celestial core." Darian stood slightly behind her, aware of the weight of their mission. As Sela continued to speak, he felt the energy from the core humming beneath him, a reminder of the potential they wielded together. "And to that end, I have brought a new ally, Darian Hale, a human who has proven himself capable of unlocking the power of passion and emotion," Sela declared, gesturing toward him. "Together, we will channel the core's energy to ensure the Empire's supremacy." Murmurs rippled through the crowd, skepticism evident among some members. "A human." One council member scoffed, his voice dripping with disdain. "What could a mere human possibly contribute to the greatness of our empire?" Darian stepped forward, summoning his courage. "I may be human, but I bring a perspective that has been absent from your ranks. Emotion is a force that drives us, fuels our actions. With the celestial core, we can amplify that power, creating a force stronger than anything you have ever imagined." The chamber fell silent, all eyes on him. He felt the weight of their scrutiny, but pressed on, letting his passion guide his words. "I have seen what happens when power is wielded without understanding. I've fought against tyranny and injustice. This is an opportunity for the Zenith Empire to redefine itself, not through conquest, but through unity." Sela's gaze held steady, a silent affirmation that urged him to continue. "Imagine an empire where strength is derived from collaboration rather than subjugation, where diverse voices can shape our destiny. Together, we can elevate our people to heights we never thought possible." His voice rang with conviction, resonating through the chamber as he spoke. Darian could feel the energy from the core pulsing in rhythm with his words, amplifying his passion and igniting a spark of hope within him. There was a tense moment of silence as the council members exchanged glances. Finally, Sela broke the tension. "To demonstrate our strength, we will connect with the celestial core right here, right now. Witness the power that unites us." With a flick of her wrist, the chamber dimmed, and the core's light brightened, casting an ethereal glow across the room. Darian felt the energy swirl around him, a whirlwind of colors and sensations. He reached deep within himself, drawing on the emotions that fueled his determination. "Together," Sela instructed, her voice a calming presence amidst the chaos. "Let us show them our strength." As they connected with the core, the energy surged through them, igniting a brilliant display of light that filled the chamber. Colors danced in a symphony of hues, intertwining and expanding like the cosmos itself. The energy pulsed in harmony with their hearts, weaving a tapestry of power and unity. Darian felt an overwhelming sense of belonging as he poured his emotions into the core, each thought amplifying the light. He saw visions of what could be, a future where humans and aliens live side by side, united in purpose. The room filled with gasps and murmurs of awe, the council members captivated by the spectacle before them. In that moment, Darian realized that they were not just demonstrating power, they were planting the seeds of a new legacy. They were challenging the very fabric of the empire, and as the light enveloped the chamber, he could see doubt in the eyes of some council members beginning to shift toward hope. "Let this be the dawn of a new era," Sela declared, her voice rising above the brilliance. "Together, we will forge a path forward, one that transcends the limitations of the past." As the display of power reached its crescendo, the energy coalesced into a radiant sphere above them, a manifestation of their combined strength and vision. The council chamber erupted in applause, a chorus of voices rising to acknowledge the unprecedented unity displayed before them. Darian's heart soared as he absorbed the moment. They had taken a monumental step together, and for the first time, he could see the potential for real change. The council members, once filled with skepticism, were now captivated by the promise of a future they had never dared to dream of. But amidst the celebration, a flicker of doubt remained. They had made their mark, but the road ahead would not be easy. Commander Rolfo would not take kindly to their rising influence, and Darian knew that this was just the beginning of a larger struggle. As the energy from the celestial core began to settle, Darian turned to Sela, her eyes gleaming with pride. "We did it," he said, breathless from the experience. "But this is only the first step. We must remain vigilant." Sela nodded, her expression fierce and determined. "Indeed, we've made an impact today, but we must prepare for the challenges ahead. Rolfo will come for us, and we must be ready." With their newfound resolve, Darian and Sela began to strategize their next moves, aware that they stood at a pivotal moment in history. Together, they would face whatever challenges lay ahead, united by a bond forged in passion and a vision for a brighter future. Shadows of betrayal. The aftermath of the council meeting buzzed in the air like a live wire. Darian and Sela stood at the edge of the chamber, the echoes of applause still reverberating in their ears. The display of the celestial core's power had left a mark, but as the council members dispersed, Darian felt a shadow looming over their triumph, a looming threat in the form of Commander Rolfo. "Today was just the beginning," Sela said, her expression a mix of pride and concern. "We have made allies, but Rolfo will not sit idly by. He'll see this as a challenge to his authority." Darian nodded, his mind racing with possibilities. "We need to anticipate his moves. If he feels threatened, he might act rashly." The weight of their alliance hung heavy on his shoulders, and he could sense the delicate balance of power shifting. Sela took a deep breath, her gaze steady. "I have already considered our next steps. We need to gather intelligence on Rolfo's intentions and bolster our support among those who favor a unified approach rather than one rooted in fear and conquest." As they exited the council chamber, Darian's mind was flooded with thoughts. The Empire was a complex web of allegiances and power struggles, and they were just two players in a much larger game. He had to learn to navigate this world with caution and intelligence, leveraging his human perspective to forge meaningful connections. "Who else do we have on our side?" he asked as they walked through the labyrinthine corridors of the Citadel, each turn leading them deeper into the heart of the Empire. "We have allies in the resource-rich regions of Elysium Prime," Sela replied. "Their leaders have expressed support for a more diplomatic approach, but they too are wary of Rolfo's influence." "What about the military factions?" Darian inquired, his brow furrowing. "Rolfo's supporters might hold significant sway there." "Indeed, Rolfo commands a loyal following among the military, but I believe not all share his vision of expansion through dominance," Sela said, her eyes narrowing in determination. "We must reach out to those who prioritize unity and collaboration. I have contacts within the military who could help us sway opinions." Darian felt a surge of hope. "Let's start with them. If we can gain the support of key military leaders, it could shift the balance of power in our favor. But we need to be careful. If Rolfo suspects we're building an alliance, he'll act quickly to undermine us." Sela nodded in agreement, her expression serious. "I will send discreet messages to my trusted contacts. We must meet in secret and discuss our plans. For now, it's best to keep our intentions hidden from Rolfo's gaze." As they strategized, the tension in the Citadel escalated. Whispers of dissent circulated in the corridors, and Darian could sense the undercurrents of mistrust among the ranks. It became increasingly clear that while they had made allies today, the path ahead would be fraught with challenges. That evening, Sela and Darian convened with a select group of trusted advisors and military leaders in a concealed chamber deep within the Citadel. The room was dimly lit, the air heavy with anticipation as they gathered around a holographic display of the star map. "Thank you all for coming on such short notice," Sela began, her voice steady. We stand at a pivotal moment for the Empire. Today, we demonstrated the potential for unity, but we must act quickly to solidify our alliances. The group consisted of a mix of alien species, some with skin glistening like gemstones, others with features that spoke of their strength and resilience. Darian recognized a few of them from the council meeting, their faces now marked by determination rather than skepticism. We must identify our key allies, a tall, muscular alien named Varric said, his voice deep and authoritative. The factions on Elysium Prime have resources that could tip the scales in our favor. But Rolfo will not take kindly to this shift in power. Darian spoke up, his confidence growing. If we can convince the military leaders who believe in Scylla's vision, we can create a coalition that challenges Rolfo's authority. We need to showcase the benefits of collaboration and the dangers of his ambition. Another advisor, a wiry figure with bright green skin named Lyra, nodded. We must also consider our security. Rolfo has eyes everywhere. We need to keep our meetings discreet and our plans hidden. As they continued discussing strategies, Darian felt a sense of camaraderie forming among them. This was more than just a political meeting. It was a coalition of beings united by a common goal, a desire for change. Suddenly, a door creaked open, and a familiar figure stepped into the room. Commander Rolfo himself, flanked by two imposing guards. The air thickened with tension as he surveyed the gathering, his eyes narrowing as they landed on Scylla. "I see you've gathered a little council of dissent," Rolfo sneered, his voice dripping with disdain. "How quaint." Darian felt his heart race. This was not good. Rolfo had come to confront them, and his presence was an ominous warning of what was to come. "What do you want, Rolfo?" Scylla asked, her voice unwavering despite the tension. "Just checking on the state of my empire," Rolfo replied, his tone mocking. "I would hate to see any dangerous ideas take root here." Darian stepped forward, his posture defiant. "We're discussing the future of the Empire, Commander. Not that you would understand the importance of collaboration." Rolfo's eyes flashed with anger, and he took a step closer. "You should know your place, human. You're an outsider, a pawn in this game. Do not think for a moment that you can challenge my authority." Scylla interjected, her voice firm. "Darian is no pawn, Rolfo. He possesses a unique perspective that could benefit the Empire. You would do well to recognize that." Rolfo's gaze flickered between them, and for a moment, Darian could sense the tension building. The commander was a master manipulator, and he would not take their alliance lightly. "Watch your words, Scylla. You tread on dangerous ground. I suggest you remember who holds the true power in this empire." "Power built on fear is weak," Darian countered, his voice rising. "We're here to foster a future where strength is derived from unity and understanding, not oppression. Your way has only led to division." The room fell silent, the tension palpable as they stood against Rolfo's imposing presence. But beneath the bravado, Darian felt a flicker of fear. The commander was not only influential, he was dangerous. With a cold smile, Rolfo took a step back, as if savoring the moment. "You may have gathered a few supporters, Scylla, but I assure you, the majority of the Empire does not share your vision. I will make sure of it." "Is that a threat?" Scylla challenged, her eyes narrowing. "It's a promise," Rolfo replied, turning on his heel. "Consider this a warning. The Empire will not change under your misguided beliefs." As Rolfo strode out of the chamber, the atmosphere shifted. Darian could feel the weight of uncertainty settling over them. They had provoked a powerful adversary, and now the stakes were higher than ever. "We need to act quickly," Scylla said, her voice low but filled with determination. "Rolfo will use this to his advantage. We cannot let fear dictate our actions." Darian nodded, the urgency of their situation sinking in. "We need to bolster our support among the military leaders and secure our alliances. We can't allow Rolfo to undermine our efforts." With renewed determination, the group resumed their discussions, outlining strategies to counter Rolfo's influence. They would need to operate in the shadows, forging connections and gathering support without drawing attention to their plans. As the meeting concluded, Darian felt a mixture of hope and trepidation. They had taken significant steps toward building a coalition, but the threat of Rolfo loomed large. He understood now that this battle would not be fought solely in the halls of power, but in the hearts and minds of those who believed in a new vision for the Empire. Darian stepped outside the chamber, the cool air hitting his face like a splash of cold water. He was acutely aware of the challenges ahead and the shadows of betrayal lurking in every corner of the citadel. Yet, as he walked alongside Sela, he felt a flicker of hope ignite within him. They were not alone. They had allies who believed in their cause. "We'll find a way," he said, meeting Sela's gaze. "Together, we can change the future of the Zenith Empire." Sela's eyes sparkled with determination. "Indeed, we will not falter. The path ahead may be treacherous, but we will face it together." With that resolve, they prepared to face the shadows of betrayal, knowing that their journey was just beginning. The fight for the future of the Empire had started, and together, they would challenge the forces that threatened to divide them.